Live from the City of Angels on this Sunday night, you are watching Midnight Movie Talk as we are in the final stretch for the Oscars. What is going to win Best Picture? That's the question after tonight's Critics' Choice Awards. We'll get to that in a moment. I'm going to discuss the PGA nominees that came out on Friday. Also, discuss Oppenheimer live. Those of you who didn't have a chance to see my video from that event this past week, what a night that was. We'll discuss it along with Mia Goth. I mean, is Maxine possibly going to get Magazine Dreamed, right? As you know, Magazine Dreams, a movie that was supposed to come out, but once the allegations hit with Jonathan Majors, that film may never be seen. I really don't want that to happen. We'll discuss, though, about Mia Goth and those allegations against the extra. Also, Paul Thomas Anderson, $100 million? You're giving him that much for a movie? That's coming up. Also, Barry Keoghan and his humping the grave. Was that the right decision or not? There is a lot to talk about, but as you see, bottom of the screen right now on the Sunday night, we have Best Picture. What's going to win? Is it going to be Oppenheimer or is it going to be Barbie? Or could it be the holdovers? Okay, let's talk about that as we get into the Critics' Choice breakdown and we go through the winners here tonight from the CCAs. And the winner of Best Picture tonight, we go with the big one right off the bat. It is Oppenheimer. So right now, even with or without Critics' Choice, I think Oppenheimer is your number one draft pick for the Oscars Best Picture if we're slotting this thing. In fact, let's pick it up. Let's put it up right now, awardsace.com, my website, and we go to the Best Picture standings right now. Let's do it, and we roll up, and you see Oppenheimer is number one on the board. Behind it is Barbie. Now, this is, and I've told you guys so much and so often here on MMT, and when I started this website, Awards Ace, I wanted to have an NFL draft style website for the Oscars. In other words, these are prospects, right? You're looking at them all ranked. How would you put them if I was drafting a movie number one overall, not just for me, because obviously that's a big part of it. I have to believe in the film. As you guys know, I did not believe in Everything Everywhere nearly like everybody else did, nor did I believe in Coda. I mean, one of the weakest Best Picture wins in the history of the Oscars. I said it that night, and I was right again. I'm always right, man, guys. You know that. Give me a like. Always on top of it before anybody else. I'm the guy out there waving the flag while the rest of you are hiding in the bunker. I'm charging, and everyone else is like, well, I don't know if it's safe to say that Everything Everywhere is overrated. I might get attacked. Well, too bad. Get out there. Take a bullet or two. You'll live. We're talking about movies. Number three is the holdovers. Because remember, when we're looking at a preferential ballot, for those of you who don't know, I'm going to condense it and crush it. Here it is. This is what a preferential ballot is. You're going to list your 10 films in the order of how you like them. What is your preference? So for me, if I was making a preferential ballot, number one would be the holdovers, okay? And then after that, based on my top 10 of the year, I'm going to go Killers of the Flower Moon, and then I'm going to go Oppenheimer. But here's what I will say. As I sat through, my God, listen, guys, we are very lucky out here in Los Angeles to be in the epicenter of the movie industry. If you want to see it on the big screen, if you want to experience it in a way that no one else can, you are in the right place here in Hollywood, because we had that Oppenheimer live event. I'll show you some video in a moment. But what that cemented to me, sitting through that film again, it's been since summer since I saw it, is reminded how exceptional a filmmaker Christopher Nolan is. And I know, duh, but listen, when you watch a film made with the technical prowess that Christopher Nolan possesses, you are left, awestruck at just the filmmaking. Now, you guys know I don't I'm not nearly as enamored with that screenplay as I am with the technical achievement of the film. So if we were to say this, and I really believe that Best Picture ultimately is kind of right the best achievement in filmmaking. If that is the case, then I would actually place my bet. I would place my vote with Oppenheimer. If you view it as the best achievement in filmmaking overall, the best overall film would be Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon. I love The Holdovers, and I think Payne does a hell of a job directing that film and giving it that 70s aesthetic, right? Going back to the old focus features, which didn't even exist back then, creating a new, old new logo for that. And then remember, when I came out of that film, what I tell you, he brings all the sound through the front channel. That's how it was back in the 70s. So the touch that he puts on that film is special. It's something that you can't just say, oh, The Holdovers is coda. It's not even close as far as a directorial effort. But Oppenheimer is a stronger technical film. Because it's got to do more. It's got so many moving pieces to it. It's a bigger achievement. You guys, you feel me? What I'm saying here? We're looking at what has the biggest magnitude of film this year, and there is no question that it is Oppenheimer. When you couple that with the 950 million plus worldwide box office, it's very difficult not to throw everything in on Oppenheimer. I think we all are in agreement. Give me a like if you agree that Oppenheimer is the best picture of 2023, which I just put my support behind. That's where we've lost our way. We have lost our way. The Oscars have. No question, they've lost focus of what Best Picture is, the best overall achievement in filmmaking. And you know what that was last year? You guys know what it was. It's right over my shoulder, right there. It is Tar. There was no contest. What Todd Field made with that film, the achievement in filmmaking, coupled with the performance of a lifetime by Cate Blanchett, you are looking at the best overall film and filmmaking of 2022 was that film right there, Tar. And this year it is Oppenheimer. So let's make this happen. Last year, I don't know what the hell we were doing with Everything Everywhere. I don't know if we just let the Gen Zers make the decisions now. Can I just say before we get into more of this, and it's going to be one of these nights where I bounce around like always, I don't think Gen Z even knows what real emotion is. I don't think they listen, all they do is spend time on their phones. They don't access the real world like the Gen Xers do still to this day. I tell you guys all the time, I love doing this stream and I love movies. At the end of the day, I've got other things going on. Today I was down at the beach playing volleyball. Terrible day. I played horrible, but I was out with my boys playing. I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow. It's a big part of what I do. I love to be out and about. I feel like Gen Z lives looking at their phone. They don't even know what real emotion is in the world. They live this sheltered. They don't even have, they just don't do the things we did. So that's why we end up with a film like Everything Everywhere. That's emotion. There's some, but it's not. Listen, that's not the best film last year. It was Tar, and you guys know it. Everybody knows that. So let's continue down the list here. As we look on the stack here on awardsace.com, Maestro would be behind Killers of the Flower Moon. Maestro's not winning. These films are not going to win. Anything at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is not going to win. Killers of the Flower Moon's not going to win. Struck out tonight, Critics' Choice. Maestro is definitely not going to win. Poor Things, no chance. And can I say, as we talk about Poor Things, you guys ready? Here it comes. I had to go here. I've been, pussyfooting around. It's time to unleash the truth. This is all I want from Emma Stone. I want her to say what a challenge it was to play a toddler-brained woman getting banged by dudes at a whorehouse. I want her to say that on the record. If she says that, we will give everything. We will celebrate. We will have a party in the streets on Sunset. I will host and we'll bring beers and we'll have loud 80s music when she says it was really hard to play a woman with a toddler brain getting banged by dudes in a whorehouse. Can she say that? Will she say that? It's the truth. That's the beauty. People go, oh, Weber. Well, it's true. What's wrong? How is that? That's the problem. That's why they hate it. That's why they hate me so much. He says what's the truth, and that's why we don't like it. Stop saying the truth, Weber. Stop it. Best director tonight was Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer. We'll go back to the big board in a moment, but I want to get back to a little bit of Critics' Choice and talk about what happened here. Again, when you're picking Best Director, it's achievement in direction, obviously, and that would make a perfect fit there with Christopher Nolan. Last year, it's Todd Field. He didn't win, but it should have been. At least this year, we got it right, and I'm sure he's going to win at Oscar. That's guaranteed. Even though I thought at one time Greta Gerwig had a shot, Barbie still has a shot to win Best Picture. Okay, we're going to talk about that a little bit more throughout the evening, but Barbie's not done, but I would put a lot of money on Oppenheimer to win. Best Actor, Giamatti's the best performance of 2023. Any race, any religion, any gender, any whatever construct you want to put on that, it is the best of the year, and Giamatti wins, so that was a very nice win. Kudos to the CCA. Best Actress, Emma Stone, good God, no. Just for the film alone. I like Emma Stone. I think Emma Stone is very talented. Who doesn't? But not for that film. Good God. Best Supporting Actor was always Robert Downey Jr. There was never anybody else in consideration. Can I say, once again, we go back to the Gen Zers and we go back to the film Twitter dweebs who don't know anything. Can we just state one more time that these people don't know reality. They live in some kind of fantasy land. Did you see this tweet the other day? This is from Matt Erspamer. Charles Melton's Oscar chances in November, but I have my certainty, versus Charles Melton's Oscar chances now, Streep, losing her shit. I have such doubts. First of all, Matt Erspamer, he was never gonna win Best Supporting Actor for the Hallmark Channel tripe bullshit film May December. The only reason you film Twitter dweebs were celebrating is because it's by Todd Haynes, because that's all you guys know how to do is to say it's great because the director is a director of merit and they come from a cinephilic background. So Todd Haynes, May December, you wouldn't even know the difference if that was on the Lifetime channel. You wouldn't even know. You'd be like, this is a slightly elevated film for the Hallmark channel or Lifetime. But you would never say it's an Oscar-winning film. These people are utterly, completely living in another reality. If you think that Charles Melton is going to beat Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer, you don't know anything about how the world works, and truthfully, I can't ever listen to you spout anything ever again. I would, people come after me all the time for saying stuff like, oh, you said this. This is the dumbest thing I've ever read, that anyone thought that Charles Melton was going to beat Robert Downey Jr. You guys do not understand how Hollywood works. These Gen Z film Twitter people literally have not a clue how the real world works. They're just utterly baffled by the fact that Robert Downey Jr. was always going to win that. My God, these people. I read these tweets and I go, these people are not very smart. I don't know if Matt said that or he's just having fun, but Matt, that was dumb. Okay, buddy, that's a really stupid take. Never going to happen. All right, let's continue along. Let's go back to Awards Ace and we'll go down the list. We're doing exactly what I thought we'd do. We're bouncing all over the place. Are you surprised? It's exactly what we do here at MMT. Thanks for being here. If you've never watched, you're like, what the hell am I watching? And I don't blame you for asking that question. American Fiction, number 7. Let's talk about that for a moment. So American Fiction tonight at the Critics' Choice Awards wins Best Adapted Screenplay. Well, that's a surprise because Oppenheimer's right there. It just won Best Picture. It got Director. How's it not win Screenplay? Oh, let's talk about something that, we discussed before, and now that I'm not in Critics' Choice anymore, of my choice, of my volition, I left because I want to be able to attack anybody that I want at any time. I'm not going to hold back. I am a journalist at the end of the day. You can say whatever you guys want. Doesn't matter to me because I told you guys I'm going to keep pushing forward forever. Like Chris Pine in Don't Worry, Darling. Forward. You know what Amazon MGM did? Okay. If you missed the story, let me tell it briefly as possible. They flew 50 plus members of Critics' Choice to Los Angeles, put them up in the 5-star Four Seasons Hotel in Beverly Hills for, if I'm not mistaken, 4 nights. It was at least 3, but I'm pretty sure 4. As they wine and dine them, had events all over town, and all these Critics' Choice people, let's just be, I'm going to be brutally honest because that's what I specialize in. These people don't really have much of a life. They live in Paducah, Kentucky, in Toledo, Ohio. I'm from Ohio, but I'm allowed to make fun of Toledo. And for them coming out here to the Critics' Choice Awards or being flown out, in this case, by Amazon to hang out at the Four Seasons and be at a party with Barry Keoghan and with Emerald Fennell and everybody at the Saltburn party and then the Air event and all these things, they're like, my God, my life. When in reality, they're just a random nobody from Paducah, Kentucky. And I'm sorry that I have to say these things, and I know it's, Eric, you're being mean, but unfortunately, let's just be honest with each other. How many people in the film space stand out? How many can you name in the film space that stand out at any level whatsoever? Do you know why they don't predominantly? Because they don't have takes like what I just said about Emma Stone. They don't have takes about what I'm saying about American Fiction beating Oppenheimer. And why did that happen? Because MGM flew a bunch of members out here. That's a little curious. You see, that is called balls. That is called being fearless. And these people don't have that. They don't possess it because they want to be liked. They want to be part of the group, and they don't want to lose access to that trip from Paducah, Kentucky to Los Angeles to hang out with the stars and be cool for a few days. I don't need that in my life. I don't need to be told I am cool. I certainly don't need anyone to tell me that. I got it. And if you don't own it either way, you don't need that stuff to validate you. But you see what I'm saying? If you don't take chances and you don't state what your realities are, and trust me, some of these people have opinions like this, they're too afraid to. They're afraid to say what might get them in trouble. That Emma Stone should discuss how difficult it was for her to get in a character and pretend she's 4 years old getting banged by dudes in a whorehouse. That's truthful. It also takes cojones. These people don't possess those things. They couldn't imagine a life where they don't get invited to come out to LA and hang out with the stars. I got news for you guys. I've told you this before. I don't care about views. I don't care about any of that stuff. It doesn't matter. I appreciate that you guys watch the show. I do it because I enjoy discussing movies and life and, in general, trying to better your existence on this planet and the existence of those that are around you, okay? But here's what I will say, is that I have been to numerous events where people have, and I've told you guys plenty, it'd be a long story. How many people come up and say, let me just say something to you, Eric, I read your stuff and you were fearless and we're aware of who you are. And it's not, and listen, I don't do it for that, but that's what I'm talking about at its essence, is that these people will never get that the fact that they don't have the balls to say these things is the reason that nobody will ever know that they exist. So take chances, roll the dice, and be fearless, okay? Back to the board. Just randomly just went off again on something else. Past lives. Can we talk about past lives for a moment? I'm not sure this film is in, for sure. Now, I understand it has all these things. It's got AFI, PGA, Golden Globes, Critics' Choice. I get it. But it has no chance of winning, right? We can all say that Past Lives was not going to win Best Picture. And here's the problem. The films behind it, because all the films I just mentioned from 1 through 7 are in. Oppenheimer, Barbie, Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Poor Things, and American Fiction are in. These last 3 slots are up for play, and I'm going to put Past Lives in that mix because you have the Zone of Interest sitting there. And let me discuss the Zone of Interest for a moment. I know a lot of you have not seen it. What a shame. One of the best. Is my number, what was it, 2 or 3 film of the year. You look at just the horrifying distance. The film, when you see this film, you're going to watch a film that discusses the Holocaust at a sterile distance that will horrify you more than maybe an actual Holocaust film that focuses on the acts. We're watching a family that lives outside the gates of Auschwitz. That's wild. Okay, it'll mess you up. Zone of Interest is more than likely in, and let me tell you, here's why, for so many reasons. First of all, it's a Holocaust film. At the end of the day, Holocaust films are always going to be successful at award season. Think how many over the years we have seen that have ended up in some kind of contention for whatever award. Maybe it's an international feature. Obviously, here we're talking about Best Picture. In this case, it is absolutely right there. It's obviously a film that deserves to be there because it's one of the best films of the year. But here's the other thing. What's happening in the world? What is happening? But right over there, right? We're looking at Israel. You're looking at that whole situation. Zone of Interest holds even more impact now based on all of that discussion with the events that are going on in the world right now. So I think it's in Zone of Interest. Color Purple, you all like it's not getting in. I have it at number 10. Here's why Color Purple's in. Because it has a SAG ensemble. SAG only has 5 movies for ensemble. Who is the biggest voting block in the Oscars? SAG. Actors. Therefore, and I know not every SAG ensemble's gotten in, but I'm telling you, an Oprah Winfrey-backed film that has a SAG nomination is getting into Best Picture. So that means we are left with the one I have at 11 right now, which is Anatomy of a Fall, which is wild because this is a film that you'd think is automatically in. And a lot of you are going to have it in over Color Purple. I'm telling you, because I roll the dice, I'm not going to play like everybody else. That's boring, and I'm not doing it because of that to be different. I'm telling you, based on what I said, Color Purple's in, Anatomy of a Fall is out, which will be crazy. Because if Anatomy of a Fall is out, then we are talking about a PGA. We're talking about a film that won screenplay at Golden Globes. They only have one screenplay, adapted and original. So that's pretty strong win. If it's out, remember I told you that's going to happen. Neon will be, they're going to be furious if that happens because it already didn't get selected by France, as you guys know, for the country submission. That went to the taste of things. So it's a wild last 3 in there. The 8, 9, 10 spot are open in them. Yes, I'm throwing Past Lives in there. I think it's the safest of the 3, but some combination of Zone of Interest, Color Purple, and Anatomy of a Fall are in there. That's it. Those are the 3. So one's out. What film's out? What film's out? If you say Color Purple, then too bad. You're wrong. Well, I think you're wrong. Great show as usual. Thank you, Bruce. Appreciate the super chat as well. Definitely pro Oppenheimer fan here and Nolan fan. I have a question. My guilty pleasure this year was Saltburn. What Oscar noms do you think it could receive? Saltburn's going to likely go home with none. I think the problem with the film, Bruce, is when you look at Saltburn, and I went back to the reaction from that film. It's been a few months now since I saw it. I love Saltburn up until Jacob Elordi's character is killed. At that point, the choices by Emerald Fennell actively wreck anything that could have been great about that film. I remember having a discussion with an Academy voter when I went to go see The Iron Claw, and we're waiting in line to go into the movie. It's FYC season, so you run into all these voters from different organizations, and he was saying, my favorite film this year was Saltburn. But the ending, she doesn't stick. And I go, that's being generous. I think the ending is really bad. I think there's another way to rewrite that. Just rewrite it and fix the film. In fact, Bruce, while I have you here, and let's talk about this, because this is 100% a wild situation. You guys heard, if you haven't seen Saltburn, okay, we're not going to ruin the movie. I just told you Jacob Elordi's character dies. You probably could gather that from watching the trailer. But when Jacob Elordi's character dies, Keegan gets on top of his, I think it's Keegan. Is it Keegan or Keoghan? Whatever, whichever it is. Someone give me a phonetic. I've been saying Keegan forever. When I saw him at the gym, I called him Keegan. No, he just looked at me like he was going to kill me. But that's typical. I'm used to that look all the time. So listen to what Emerald Fennell has to say about the scene where Keegan or Keoghan is humping the grave of Jacob Elordi. Let's have a listen here. And here she is. Let me pop it up. 1 second. Let's have the volume up on this 1 minute.
Department to sound, actors.
Here we go.
I mean, I think the thing is that it's like everything with this movie. It's all of us together, kind of from the camera department to sound, to actors, to all of us kind of working together. And I, as always, when we're looking for moments of like emotional intensity, I like people to feel quite free. In the script, it was simply a kind of like physical act of love and regret and grief. And all I said to Barry was, I think Oliver would unzip.
So she says Oliver would unzip if he's going to hump the grave of Jacob Elordi's character. Okay, let's continue and see what else she has to say.
And he sure did, he sure did. And that's the thing with Barry. That's why it's so wonderful, is he, we're always looking, all of us together, to do the thing that is closest to the bone, that is most visceral, and that's it. And that's
it was absolutely visceral.
That's why he's so remarkable, and why, but why the shot's so important too. Linus's beautiful lighting and everything. We stay away from it. We don't move. There's no like emotional manipulation. We don't go in close. We just leave it.
True. Okay, let's address this. So here's what happened. Apparently, it was Keegan's suggestion that his character do this. It wasn't in the script. And Emerald's like, okay, fine, let's do it. Now, there's a bunch of stuff to discuss here about Saltburn and Bruce. Again, thank you for the super chat. Here's what I'm going to tell you, is that as a director, and I haven't directed a film, but I can promise you this, if an actor comes to me and says, hey, how about we try this scene? I'm going to say yes. As long as it's not going to take like a complete new setup, if we have some crazy stuff, we have to go on location to shoot the scene. If we can just shoot it right now, do what you want to do, and maybe we'll use it. Maybe. I'm not going to say for sure. I want to watch it, and then we'll decide together, or I'll decide, because I'm the freaking director. I'll decide. But we're going to at least, I'll listen to you, because it's a collaborative effort at the end of the day. So Emerald Fennell made the right choice, saying, hey, we'll try this. Now, is it the right decision? When I watch Saltburn, I think it cheapens the film. Like I said, once Jacob Elordi's character is killed, the film goes off the rails, and everything that was good about it I turned against. Now, I still don't hate Saltburn like Poor Things. Not even close. Because Saltburn has so much going for it until we have Elordi killed, and then, as we know, everybody else killed. That's my biggest problem. But not just that, not just the grave humping scene, but also the fact that the next morning when they're having breakfast, it turns into some kind of comedy. That's terrible. That is really one of the worst scenes of 2023, is when they're all having breakfast the next morning and they're doing some kind of comedy routine with the drapes and all. I'm like, what am I watching? What the hell is this? I was watching Saltburn going, what are you doing, Emerald Fennell? And here's what I will say, and I think Emerald Fennell has a ton of talent, okay? But what I'm about to say is not going to be kind, and I think it's fair. Emerald Fennell is not quite worthy of the praise we are heaping on her. I said the problem with Promising Young Woman was the same problem we have here. The end of the film, she doesn't land. I would say this film, she destroys even more than Promising Young Woman, which is bad. That's a 2 for 2. She's batting 1,000 and actively wrecking the back end of her films. We can't celebrate a filmmaker that's doing these things. Emerald Fennell needs to get someone like me, thank you, and have her, I'll watch the film, or better yet, in this case, I got to get to the script, because once they get to the, if you film this, I can't fix it. I would say, what are we doing here? You need to just kill Elordi and then just have him kind of absorbed into the family and make it more grounded. Remember, it's always about grounded shit. Her film at the end of that just went completely off the rails, and it's unfortunate because the film could have been good. But the grave humping scene is something you shoot, and then I wouldn't use it. I personally wouldn't use it, and you just have to say no. But you can say yes to the actor as long as it's not going to take 7 weeks to shoot, then fine, we'll do it. But until we see it and how it fits into the film, I'm not promising that your film, that this is getting in, right? You guys feel me? Okay, let's do the PGA Awards nominees, because I did want to get to the list. So we mentioned it when I just mentioned all the films that obviously I have ranked 1 through 10 plus 1. 11 films total. Let's look at the full list, and we'll talk about PGA typically lines up with Best Picture 9 out of 10 of the films, right? Sometimes it's 8, sometimes it's 10, but typically you're looking at a really close line up in that, PGA to Best Picture. For whatever reason, why did I not save it? Here it is. I got it. Okay, here we go. View stream. Something, live shows sometimes. I wish I had a producer that could just push the buttons and they hear me talk. Maybe one of you can do that. You have to be here every Sunday, though. That's all I want. Only Sunday night. You don't have to do anything else. Producers Guild of America. Okay, here we go. American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, Holdovers, Killers, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, Zone of Interest. So that could easily be the 10. The only one I have switched is I have Color Purple in, and I have Anatomy of a Fall out. I'm shocked Color Purple didn't get in here for Producers Guild. It's a very well-produced film. I mean, some of you are going to say we didn't need it, but I'm telling you, I like Color Purple. As a musical, it's a different take on Spielberg's masterpiece, classic, at least classic. And so I am shocked it isn't here. And certainly also, let's just talk about this in the world that's all about representation. Where's Color Purple, right? So interesting, to say the least. Okay, let's do a couple comments. I'm going to talk about Oppenheimer live next. So that's going to be amazing. Cinematography is very good, Bruce. I agree. Cinematography is very good in Saltburn. The score is strong. I think Keegan's performance is very good. And as an ensemble, I like Jacob Elordi a lot. These are the first time I've seen him in Saltburn and the Priscilla. So I saw him in both these films. Like, this guy's a star. Like, sometimes you hear these things like this guy, this, that, and then you watch the performance and you go, okay. It's like Jeremy Allen White, in the Iron Claw. He's just okay. I know Carrie Von Erich, his character wasn't really written that well there, but I remember my problem with Jeremy Allen White. When you look at Carrie Von Erich, he's just physically doesn't match up at all. Jeremy Allen White, I think he looks like a talented actor for sure. He's got those piercing blue eyes. He is just not physically a big dude. He's very short. And that's Carrie Von Erich was a Greek god. He was 6'3", 6'4". So exactly. Where are you, producer Nate? What's going on? I need to get some producer John. John, you've been here a lot, John. But you have to push the buttons. You can't suddenly make the whole stream disappear. That's what I do. Get a producer and they come in here and just click the things over. All right, let's do Oppenheimer live. Then we're going to talk about Mia Goth. The Mia Goth situation is really something else. We have to discuss that in depth. That's coming up next. But we do want to talk about Oppenheimer live. I want to show you guys a little bit of what this was. Listen, I wish I could take you guys. I think that was the reaction stream. If you go back and watch it, I shot it right at the intermission, which, by the way, was right after the test. After the Trinity test, boom, intermission. And I was right again, having seen Oppenheimer. That film on the back 45, 50 minutes is not the film the build is, right? That's the problem with Oppenheimer. If Oppenheimer finished on Trinity, somehow was able to rearrange and finish on Trinity, I know that's not going to be possible with the script that he wrote. But I think that then we're talking about maybe one of the best films ever made. That's the problem with the film for me. Okay, let's go and let's find my tweet here here it is. Okay, I'm going to play a little bit of the video so you can see. This is me and my friend Paul. I love Paul. Paul's amazing. Let me get the right one here. Okay, here we go. So Paulie's my boy. He's Academy Picks on Twitter. We saw a movie last night, The Teacher's Lounge, which is probably going to get nominated for Best International Feature. It's Germany. I liked it a lot. There's some problems with it. The ending was not as satisfying as I would have liked. But when you look at Oppenheimer, he was there. We had a wonderful time. Listen, can you hear the music live? Well, the film's playing. So the film, right? So look, let me make this even bigger. So do you guys see the screen there? So I was in, let me see if you can see. Wait, hold on. Give me a second. Okay. So I was in the second row. I'm like right there. I'm basically in my seat when I take this picture. So you've got the live orchestra, as you can see, underneath the screen. And the screen shows the film, and you've got the conductor out there as the scene is hitting. We're doing it live. What made that night so special is not just the fact that you're watching these otherworldly talented musicians do this live. That was actually the orchestra they had for the film. So kudos to Universal for putting that night together and getting everyone back together. The gang got together and did this live. And I'm telling you, can you hear the music? Oh my, I felt my soul like trying to escape. It was something like another level. You hit those moments in life where you're just like, oh my God, that was what happened the other night. Listen to how I couldn't film during the movie. It'd be a little weird. Someone in the back did, but I'll show you what it sounded like. At least you have an idea. The credits rolling. Here we go. And what you guys don't realize is that it sounds identical. They're doing it live, and there's no difference between the movie, the score that you hear in the theater, and what I'm hearing in front of me. Only it's live, and the power of live music plus cinema. This is one of the reasons I love living out here and having a chance to go there. Universal, thank you so much for having me there. That was an unbelievable second row. I mean, clearly. They wanted me to be seen by everybody in the audience. I mean, that's obvious. Come on. That's like, look who's here. So half of film Twitter go, oh, God, he's here. How does he have such a good seat? We hate that guy. But it really was something else. Nolan was there. In fact, you know what's, I'll probably, remind me, maybe I'll post it. It probably is online. You guys can find it. Nolan was the second guy out. The first person out was Cillian Murphy. Then he introduced Nolan. Nolan talked about how Ludwig's score was like part of the DNA of the film, which there's no argument. It's the best score of the year, maybe one of the best scores ever. And especially the use of the score. 2 hours and 43 minutes of that 3-hour film has score. It's what Nolan said. I believe it, right? Go back and watch. It's very few moments where there's no score. I noticed that when I first saw it, that first screening way back before it opened, I'm like, there's like score incessant, very much like Interstellar, like all of his films. He loves doing it. So Nolan does. Then Ludwig came out, and then the film starts, and then the music. It's just what an event. I am blessed to have seen that. I don't go to a lot of those things anymore, but you give me one of those, I'm 100% in, because that is a very unique experience. I'm sure a lot of you would have paid a lot of money to do it. I don't doubt it. I would have too. I'm 100% with you. It's time to talk about Mia Goth. This is a real problem for A24 and a problem for Maxine, the film, and a problem for anybody who is like disturbed by the fact these allegations allege that she kicked an extra in the head and then went in and belittled him in the bathroom afterwards. I mean, guys, this is bad. Okay, let's go over the facts as we know them, and then we'll discuss what could happen here with this film. As you guys know, I talked about it early in the stream, Jonathan Majors' Magazine Dreams. That film, once Majors had those allegations and, of course, went to court, that total mess, that film may never be seen other than the people who saw it at Sundance last year. It was picked up by Searchlight. It may never see the light of day. And could that happen with Maxine? I doubt it. We'll discuss it here, but let's go to the details of what we know from Variety. Now, this broke on Friday. This is a late-breaking Friday story. Now, remember, Friday afternoon's typically a news dump. It's also interesting that this came out Friday, and the other thing that it did, as the lawyer for this extra threw it out there and the case was filed, is that there's no time really to even issue any kind of statement because it's Friday afternoon. And I'm sure they were scrambling going, holy crap. Now, they might have known some of this was coming, but on a Friday afternoon at 3:30, this article posted on a Friday afternoon. That is last minute in the news cycle. And here it is. Mia Goth accused of killing Maxine background kicking. She's accused of killing a Maxine background actor. Well, that we'd know if there was a dead body in the actor. Kicking one in the head. A background actor sued Mia Goth on Friday, alleging she intentionally kicked him in the head during a scene last April, shot here in L.A. James Hunter claims he suffered a concussion after Goth kicked him during production of Maxine, the third in the trilogy of horror films directed by Ty West. Yes. In the lawsuit, Hunter states he was hired for 3 days of work to play the role of dead parishioner. On the first night of shooting, he lay on the ground for several hours covered in fake blood, enduring ants and mosquitoes. I have been a background actor. Those of you who have, please give me a thumbs up right now. It's not glamorous. You have to sit in the background. That's why it's called background acting, and do nothing. Well, sometimes just make conversation like this. But not too much. You don't want to be like over animated. It's kind of like, okay, so that's what you're doing every time the director says we're rolling. And I'll never forget. This is a great story. I've never told this story as a background actor. I was at Warner Brothers on the show. I believe it's called Joe Loves Abishola. You guys ever heard of that? It's a CBS show. And they said, hey, we want you to be background for a Valentine's Day something, like a restaurant to, like, you know, dinner date thing. And I said, that's fine, I'll go. I went over to Warner Brothers. They make you bring a suit. I think I brought just a basic thing, so it was a dress up thing. Sometimes you don't have it, the wardrobe will give it to you. And they go, sit down. Okay, we want you. They saw me and they go, we want you to go right here. They put me right next to the camera so that, like, the Joe and Abishola, the characters, are like next to me. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like having my conversation. They do the first take. And then all of a sudden they go, you right there, we need you to move. Can you move back to this table over here? And I'm like, what the hell? I didn't do anything. Why are you guys moving me to the back? Okay. Then I'm not kidding you. We did another take. And then they said, hey, we need you to go back to the booth that's all the way in. Do you see the one back there? It's really almost out of camera sight. We want you to sit there and face the other wall. And I'm like, why are they doing this to me? Why do they keep pushing me further back in the scene? Like, they don't even want me in the scene. Can you guys guess why? It's not because they knew I was Eric Weber. They didn't know that. Thank you, Jeffrey. They didn't know that. They didn't know that it was Eric Weber Awards days. No, you ready for this? I didn't know anything until when the scene was over. They sent us to the wardrobe to give back our shit. And the wardrobe lady goes, oh, apparently we had Iron Man on the set today. I go, what? So apparently the director and everybody there was like, we can't have this guy that looks like Iron Man so visible in front of the camera. Let's have him facing backward like this. That's how he'll be in the scene, because that way no one will think that he looks like Iron Man. I'm going to tell you guys again, I've said it before, when I do this look, I did it to look like Johnny Depp, so it's completely failed. Everything that I've tried in my life has failed. Clearly, you guys are aware of that. But so I wanted to look like Depp. I didn't want to look like Iron Man, but they no, I'm not even kidding you. They, of course, exactly. No, they really did. Okay, I'm sorry to regale you with my stories. I want to get back to the Mia Goth situation. We're talking about Mia Goth kicking an extra in the head. I'm just letting you know, when I told you the story of Bob Loves Abishola, I was on the show along with CIS. NCIS, I was featured. You can see me. I'm right in front of the camera. So I'm a very, very famous actor in addition to doing this show. For the 7 of you that watch, I appreciate it. See, at least I'm bloody honest, right? I mean, brutally honest all the time. And it's fun. That's how it's always going to be. So I know what it's like to be an extra. And as such, being an extra, I don't want to be kicked in the head by Bob or Abishola. This show is so fucking weird, man. It's just weird. I don't even know what I'm going to do half the time. We just hit the live button and I just start coming up with shit. But the truth is, didn't make this story up. So I don't want to be kicked in the head. And this poor extra apparently, allegedly, was kicked in the head. That's not good. That would really hurt. I mean, especially, and then listen, it gets worse. So after he apparently was kicked in the head, so real quickly, let me just walk through how this works. We're going to do a true crime reenaction. So here we go. So we have Goth trying to run past the dead guy, and she had to step over him, right? She's running, she steps over him, and apparently she came close to his head. So he complained to the second assistant director, and then the concern was relayed to Goth. Because on the set, you have an assistant director who helps the regular director in Video Village, and he's basically telling, like me, you look like Iron Man, go to the back corner, we can't have you on camera, okay? Without saying that, that's what he did. He moves people around. So he told Goth, and Goth is like, okay, according to the suit, Goth deliberately kicked him in the head this time with her boot. After the scene was completed, Hunter alleges that he was in the bathroom when Goth came in and taunted, mocked, and belittled him, daring him to do anything about it. Because listen, we've all seen Mia Goth like go crazy. Remember that scene from Infinity Pool where she pulls up and she's like, what are you going to do about it, James? You know, that movie was not good. But right when she's looking at Skarsgård and she's like, hey, James, why don't you come out of the car? Imagine you're in the bathroom and you're like dealing with a near concussion. This is all alleged. And Mia Goth's like, hey, extra boy, what you gonna do about it, man? I'll kick you in the head again, dead mannequin number one. He's like, shit, now I'm being taunted by Mia Goth, and she knows how to taunt. We've seen it on camera. So apparently he felt pain in the head. The fake blood dried onto his robe, causing him pain when he removed it, according to the suit. On the drive home, he felt lightheaded and had to pull over twice. The next day, the casting agency informed him that the production did not want him back for the remaining 2 days, according to the suit. Okay, well, here's the problem. Okay, so let's talk about this. This is a problem when we talk about Mia Goth and this whole situation. Is that if he was fired, so, you know, he was booked for the next 2 days, and if all of a sudden because there's going to be record that he was booked for 3 days. I've done extra stuff where it was like 2 days. NCIS, I believe, was a 2-day shoot. I need you to come here this day and that day. And if all of a sudden you don't go back the next day, then there's going to be record that he all of a sudden was debooked, canceled. And if that's the case, that's going to give merit to the lawsuit, right? Because why were you canceled? You're just a dead mannequin number one. Why are they canceling you? Oh, because Mia Goth said, get that guy out of here. I'm telling you, this is bad. This is bad for Mia Goth. This is bad for Maxine. And I don't want to hear this stuff because I want to see Maxine. I love X. You guys know I love X. One of my best top films of that year. And then Pearl, I liked a lot. But Maxine, an 80s set, gritty crime drama situation. Oh my God. Shot in LA. I want to see Maxine. But I'm telling you, if this is bad. I guarantee that someone's getting on the phone to this guy. We talked about this before. When you have this much money in a production in this, someone's getting on the phone to this guy and saying, hey, can we settle out of court? It happens all the time. Even if the allegations are false. First of all, if they're false, probably, I don't know. Even then, just to have it go away. Right? So you have so much money involved in these things. That's why Marvel even thought about that with Jonathan Majors. Can we pay you? And then, New York prosecuted, so they couldn't even stop it. In this case, it's a lawsuit. It's not a criminal thing, right? So if they go to this extra and they say, because here, okay, let's just be honest with each other. If you were, let me ask you this question and we'll go to the comments. If you were the extra, and let's say this actually happened, you got kicked in the head by Mia Goth and you had a slight concussion and she belittled you like she did Skarsgård in Infinity Pool, would you then turn around if suddenly someone said, listen, if you just make this go away, I've got $100,000 that we can donate to you, right? And I'm telling you that $100,000 to a production, to a talent, is nothing to a Mia Goth. So, not suggesting it's gonna happen, not saying it is. I'm just hypothesizing that if that happened, would you take the $100K to get kicked in the head by Mia Goth and then belittled like she did Skarsgård in Infinity Pool? That's the question. Would you take the money? I don't know if she came in the men's room. Apparently, she must have. Well, I don't think was he in the bathroom, because remember that, okay, when you do these shows, you have like a holding area. So let me go back to Bob Loves Abishola. So when I shot that film, I hope that's what it's called. It's a weird, Abishola is a string. I hope I said that right. Whatever, like I care. Here's the truth. When you get done shooting the scene or before the scene, there's a holding area for the extras. So at Warner Brothers, the holding area for Bob Loves Abishola was right next to the Friends fountain. You guys, on the Warner Brothers lot. It was back in the back. We are in like a fake, because a lot of those buildings are fake, right? They're just an exterior with like nothing inside. So inside of one of the fake banks or whatever the hell it was, next to the fountain from Friends, we had, all of us were standing there waiting to get called in. And then, you know, the AD's on the thing, okay, everybody, let's go. And we all start walking over to stage number, whatever it was, 20. And we go in and we shoot the scene. And then you come out. But so let's assume he went to the holding area, because it's a movie, but there's always going to be a holding area somewhere where everybody goes, especially the background, the actors. They stand, they have all their stuff. They have a backpack with their shit in there. And so she could have easily gone there. I mean, if she was fired up enough, I don't know. But there's got to be a witness. In that case, it wouldn't likely just be him that was in that holding area. So someone might have seen Mia Goth come in. Again, this is all allegation, but there should have been someone else in the holding area that would have said, yeah, that she came in and said some shit to this guy. I don't know what happened. Because I would do that. But you got to remember this too, because you guys know I'm a different breed. I would actually say what I believe is what I saw. A lot of people would be like, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to lose my job as a dead mannequin number 2, right? We talked about that with just earlier with the Critics' Choice. When faced with a tough decision, a lot of people will just keep doing what they're doing for the paycheck or not to rock the boat or whatever. In this case, with Critics' Choice, they don't want to say things like I'm saying about Emma Stone and, you know, all the things I've been saying, because they know that that's going to lead to them getting booted from Critics' Choice. But when you don't care, you go there. I don't need it. I don't have any bother for it. But if you're an extra, if you want to be a star in this town, you'll put up with a lot of shit. How do you think Harvey Weinstein lasted as long as he did? Because people were like, I want to be famous. I'll do whatever it takes. This town will do that. Okay. That's what I'll never be good at. If I ever had a director, right, who, let's say that day that I was at Bob Loves Abishola and the director was like, listen, fuckface, you need to go. I'd be like, whoa, dude, we're not doing this shit. I'd walk off. Like, I'm not going to put up with that. You guys know that I'm not that guy. So I wouldn't put up with half of Hollywood shit. If I had a director, like, go back and look at what's it called? The Entourage. Go back and look at that episode with Vinny, and he had to deal with that director that was maniacal. If I had someone like that I had to clash with, that was a total asshole. It's different if it's you know, mutual. Like, you do something and you're that. I'm not saying that's like the best way to work, but I'm saying at least you know that. But if you had somebody who was like a total bully that was always like, listen, you son of a bitch, do this, and I'm tired of doing it, like being an asshole. Like, of course, I always talk about walking into a meeting at a studio and saying these things, but those people be fired, so there'd be no, you know, altercation. Some people will put up with that stuff. And that's this town. So maybe nothing happens from this, but it's not good. It's not good, right? So I don't know what's going to happen. Jim, welcome to the channel. Hollywood's supposed to be liberals. Yeah, well, I don't know, man. I don't know what this town's just full of people that want to be famous, and they'll do whatever it takes. They will take whatever they'll do whatever it takes. It doesn't matter. Paul Thomas Anderson, $100 million. You guys see this? Warner Brothers is going to pay him $100 million for this thing. Check this out. Hold on. Give me a second. Let me find it. Here we go. When I saw this, I go, excuse me, what? $100 million for PTA after his last film lost money? You guys remember that Licorice Pizza budgeted at 40, lost money for MGM. So now Warner Brothers is like, we'll give you 100. So what are the chances going to lose money? Pretty good, but here's the difference. Okay, let's talk about the differences, and then we'll talk about the $100 million for PTA. Okay, it speaks to the studios wanting to work with these prestige directors. I mean, look what just happened with Oppenheimer. But Nolan has more box office success than PTA, way more. What is it, like 100 to 1, 1,000 to 1? I didn't do the numbers, but think about that. How many films has Nolan had that have been huge worldwide blockbusters? How many's PTA had? Okay, but these studios want to work with this talent, so they're like 100 million. Fine, I don't care. We don't work. So Warner Brothers. No, here's the difference, though. At least if they do this film, which it sounds like that's what's going forward here, you've got Leonardo DiCaprio. So right off the bat, you've got Leo DiCaprio. If you have DiCaprio, you can raise the budget of the movie. So when you go back to Licorice Pizza, you didn't have anyone in that film like a DiCaprio. You had Cooper show up for like 2 seconds, right, in that insane role. But you didn't have a DiCaprio. You didn't have somebody you could lean on that has a box office record, had a real draw to bring people in. That wasn't happening. So right off the bat, you're better off with the Leo DiCaprio, obviously. You've also got Regina Hall, who's had been coming up over the last few years. Sean Penn, obviously he was in Licorice Pizza. But once you have Leo, you're good. We talked about this before. I talked to a producer at an award show, whatever year it was, and we were going over finance, and he was telling me that here's how it works. If you know that your film has star A, B, and C, let's say you have Leo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie, and Robert Pattinson. Well, guess what? We're going to give you a budget of like $200 million for those three. Now, let's say you have Leo DiCaprio and then like a B and a C player. Well, then we're going to give you 50 to 75 million. If you don't have anybody that's big, man, I don't know. We can give you 2 million. I don't even think we can give you that. Do you have any name that we can work with? It works on packaging as many names together with a director that people know so that obviously you get interest in the film. So the financing makes sense, getting more money for this film because it has Leo alone. But $100 million for a PTA film that from a director that has not proven to have the box office track record of a Nolan, then it doesn't make sense from a financial standpoint. But remember, it's like Apple just did with Napoleon. It's like Apple just did with what's it called? The other big Killers of the Flower Moon, obviously. Those two films, it's not always about just the budget and the box office. It's about awards. It's about building the prestige. And Warner Brothers knows that a Paul Thomas Anderson movie is going to be nominated for a bunch of Oscars. They don't mind that. So, of course, it's not just about the box office. It's about the opportunity for award success because studios care about that stuff. Ask Netflix if they care that Apple has a Best Picture and they don't. Of course they do. They absolutely go tonight. Every night they go, oh, my God, Apple has a Best Picture. We don't. And they're not getting it this year. Maestro is striking out. That's their best chance. And May, December was a Hallmark Channel movie directed by Todd Haynes. I mean, anyone who says that movie is a masterpiece, first of all, it's also not a comedy. May December's laughably bad, but it's not a comedy, right? Would you give $100 million to PTA? That's the question. We're coming up on an hour. Yeah, listen, that's what I'm saying. He look at his films. Let's just talk recently. Go back to Licorice Pizza. Obviously lost the money at $40 million. You look at one of my favorite is of all time for PTA. If you ask me what my favorite PTA film is, I'm going to say The Master. The Master, how much did The Master make worldwide? 20 million? I mean, I'm just going off the top. I have no idea what the number is. It's not 500 million. I can promise you that. You name a film, Magnolia. Name a film, any PTA film. There's nothing that's going to pop. That's going to be like, oh yeah, that was it. No, there's nothing. So that's a risk. But again, it's about the rewards. It's about the awards. It's about that. Let's hope that it's not a retread of Licorice. By the way, who was the only person who said Licorice Pizza was a completely underwhelming film? Me again, Dan. Why do I always have to be out in front of all this shit? Remember, I had that tweet that has 1 million impressions. I can find it. I'm not going to bother. I can paraphrase it right now. This is what happens when you let a director do whatever they want, and that piss people off. But I was right. Licorice Pizza, who this script is not, who said this was a good film to make? This film is like a bunch of disconnected scenes. It's not a great film, and everyone was just praising it because that's what we do now. We praise PTA. We praise Todd Haynes. No, we don't. We watch the film, and then we decide. I don't care if the director has 50 classic films. Film 51 is graded at 0, and we go from there. Film Twitter doesn't understand that concept. It's Todd Haynes. It's already good. It's Bong. It's already good. It's Nolan. It's already good. No, it's not. You guys, it's always start from 0. I don't care what the pedigree. I don't care what the filmography is. When I watch Rose Glass's second feature, I Can't Wait, Saint Maud, my number 1 film of 2020. Number 1. I will not rate that higher or lower based on me having Saint Maud as my number 1 film of 2020. I will see a lot of the same things that I recognize when I watch Rose Glass's directorial effort that first time around. I'll see the skill. It's going to be there again. I know that, just like a lot of these directors. But the film still has to stand on its own, not on the achievements of the past. This isn't hard. I don't know why people can't figure this shit out. Get more demanding. Don't just be like, this is great because it's Yorgos. Poor Things sucks ass. It's the worst film of the past 2 decades, 3 decades. It might be, it's one of the worst films ever, along with Beau is Afraid. We had 2 of the worst films ever made in 1 calendar year with Beau is Afraid and Poor Things, but yet Yorgos is a master, and Ari Aster gave us Hereditary and Midsommar, therefore Beau is Afraid's a masterpiece. Go talk to your boy Fennessy. Talk about someone who has absolutely he's completely undeserving of the acclaim that guy gets. Remember his Emma Stone Enjoyers. Excuse me, what? You're the professional. You're the head of film Twitter, and you're going to write something like Emma Stone Enjoyers? Fennessy's the most overrated film voice in the space. It's not even a contest. That dude, if he was a draft pick, Fennessy would be Ryan Leaf. He is the Ryan Leaf of film criticism. Thank you so much. Book it. Give me a like. That guy. Unbelievable. Seriously, most overrated in the history, possibly, of film, that guy. Thank you, Dan. 100%. 100%. It's embarrassing how he's overvalued. It's truly embarrassing. And I'm not saying I'm better. That's not the point. You guys can take all the shots you want. I don't give a shit. The point is I'm tired of people being put on a pedestal and you watch and you go, what? You read and you go, what? I don't care if he knows everything about every film ever made. As a film evaluator, Sean Fennessy is shit. He is literally the combination of Ryan Leaf and that Raiders quarterback, Jamarcus Russell. Just hit me. He's Ryan Leaf and Jamarcus Russell wrapped up in a film evaluator. Sean Fennessy, everybody. Welcome to the show. Oh my God. It's disconnected. It's meandering is being kind. It's a disconnected. There's no cohesion to that film. And also, can we? I said this before. We're at an hour. I'm sorry, guys. I can't go much longer. This takes a. You guys understand the bandwidth this show takes to continually come up with incredibly insightful stuff for an hour. I mean, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Okay, I need some time to decompress. I'll go a little longer, then I'm out. But listen, Licorice Pizza. When we look at, I think Phyllis Seymour Hoffman's one of the best actors ever, and what we were robbed of all those performances. But his kid, I don't see anything. I wouldn't even use him. I mean, I don't. I mean, that's nice that you're the son of Paul Thomas Anderson. It's cool, but I'm sorry, I'm not feeling it, man. He's just doesn't. And also, Haim didn't have it either. I was incredibly underwhelmed by her as well. I was told she was the best actress. I'm like, excuse me, for what? What did she do in that movie? Again, we remember, we're going to celebrate because she's an accomplished. She's in this band, the Haim sisters. So of course who cares? The performance is whatever. It's whatever. It's not great. Okay, Licorice Pizza. All right. Let's go. We're almost done. I want to do this before we go. We got dude, I had so much shit to get to tonight. When I only do one of these shows a week, you guys get all the good stuff or mediocre stuff in one night. can I say this? I got a lot of heat when I said this years ago, and look who's right again. Look who's right again. It's ridiculous the number of times I've been out in front of something and then it all comes back around and they go like a year later to like, yeah, why didn't you listen to me when I said it, like when it was happening? Robert Downey Jr. should have received a Best Supporting Actor nomination for Avengers Endgame. Not even a question about it. And now you guys see the big story. Here it is that he is like, hey, I did some of my best work in Avengers and none of you all paid attention. Oh, really? None of us paid attention, Robert? I got news for you. I paid attention. No one else bothered, but guess what? Guess who did? Here it is. Here's the thing. Robert Downey Jr. says, let me pump it up. There it is. Robert Downey Jr. says he had some of his best acting work playing Iron Man, but believes it went unnoticed because of the genre. Hey, RDJ, some of us are paying attention. This is a tweet from way back in 2019. My site, Awards Ace, is tracking Robert Downey Jr. for Oscar's Best Supporting Actor because he deserved it, and it was about an accomplishment for his contribution to the MCU, starting it and then finishing what we knew of the MCU with Avengers Endgame. And I was the only guy, people coming after me, oh, what are you talking about? And now y'all, go read the replies for that discussing film thing. Yeah, you're right. He was really good. Yeah, you guys suck. All of you suck. Well, not all of you. Most of you suck. You know why? Because none of you get in front of this shit until it's after. You all get in front of it. Like now it's now trendy to hate everything everywhere, at least say it's overrated. It's now trendy to bag on Coda. It's now trendy to say Licorice Pizza wasn't great. Do you see? What do you notice about the pattern? It's trendy to say Robert Downey Jr. didn't get the respect he deserved. I'm right all the time. It's going to come around about Poor Things. It's all going to come around. You're all going to go, Poor Things is trash. It's going to happen. And then when it happens, you'll all be like, damn it, Weber was right again. Why is he the only guy who has the fucking balls to say this shit? Because the rest of them are all worried. Am I going to get invited to that thing? Am I going to go? Can I hang out in the corner while the stars are there? It's so cool to be around them. Who cares? They're people. Move on. All right, here we go. I want to do this before we go. This is totally not film. We've done the film shit. I mean, I've talked an hour about film. I think we're good. I want to ask, because I told you at some point with this show, there's things that I really would rather discuss in addition to, the film stuff. We've done the MMT Gets Freaky. There's some crazy shit out there. I have no question I believe that. But I want to talk about this. Do any of you have an electric car? Because I have zero interest in electric car. Like, you could give me a Tesla and I would turn around and find out what it was going for on the open market the second you handed me the keys. How can I trade this in for a gas car? I know, Weber, you're terrible. The environment. Have you seen what it takes to mine the equipment for the battery? The lithium, right, in the battery. Have you seen the hole in the earth that you have to? So let's not do that. Don't go there. You're going to lose that. But I don't want an electric car. And when I came around this tweet, I saw this the other day. I go, this is something I would write. I knew this too. I'm right about electric cars. Why am I always right? It doesn't get old. I'm not going to lie to you. It definitely doesn't get old being right 24/7, 365. Here we go. This is the tweet. I'm going to read it to you. And this is what I think about electric cars. Well, I'll get a few more. Okay, I'm going to do this. Then I'll do a few comments and then I'm out of here. Maybe we do an MMT Gets Freaky and we're out. I took my wife into work today for safety's sake. It's minus 45. This guy's sending the tweet from Canada. I saw a fellow sitting in an EV at a charging station. Here's the picture. You guys ready? Here's the guy at the Tesla charging station in, I want to say, Kelowna, Canada. And it's minus 45. Minus 45. Okay, so let's go back to the story. Let me roll back up here. Okay, so I briefly spoke to him as he went into the store. He said he's been sitting in the car running the heaters and it was taking about twice as long to charge. The car's range was about 280 kilometers. Can someone do the math on that for miles? In the cold, he said. The fellow said his trip to Saskatoon from Kelowna takes about 3 hours. He charges today. We're about $100 to charge. So right there, right, everyone says, oh, you own an electric car, doesn't cost anything. Well, what's that $100 a charge? 2 hours of sitting in the car with the heaters and battery on. It was only 2/3 car. That's the thing too. Why do you want to sit there while this thing's charged? You're on your phone. What a waste of time. You could be at the gym. You could be out serving poor people food. You could be doing anything but sitting in your car waiting for it to charge. EVs are a scam. It's a joke. Embarrassing. I feel bad for you if you fell for the cult. Do you know how I feel about it? Then he said he liked his EV, but only in the summer. He says the battery drains fast if it's hot. So if it's cold, it sucks. If it's hot, it's cold. It's bad. So why does anybody want an electric car? Can someone explain it to me? Explain to me. Don't tell me the environment. Don't tell me. Here comes Bruce. Electric car 100. They need to be more cost friendly. I want to do it for the environment. Okay, but Bruce, you know what I told you? Go back and look at the pictures of what it takes to mine that the minerals for the battery. It's insane. It's not like it's that easy. And then also when they are done, like in China, there's like entire like yards full of dead electric cars, and they can't do anything with it because the battery costs too much to replace. I'll keep my straight piped loud ass little JDM car over a Tesla any day. Exactly. I am 100% based 24/7. Thank you, Aaliyah. Welcome back to the channel. 174 miles. Unbelievable. Did you do that without Google? That's all I want to know. Did Elon respond? I don't know if he did. Did he? Let's see. Hold on. Let me go back. Let's pull it up. Let's see. Let's go through the replies. Did Elon? I bet you he didn't. Because here's the thing. If you're going to get exposed like that, you don't like Elon's really good at going back at somebody, but it's like, oh shit, all that's true. It's kind of like the people want to come after me for poor things, but they can't. They can't come after me for poor things because they're like, he's right. She does have the brain of a baby. So it's really kind of creepy that she's having sex as essentially a 4-year-old girl in her head as she has sex with the men at the whorehouse. You know what I mean? Like they can't attack that. So Elon's like, shit, all that's true about the electric car. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to say, right? He's Grandpa Simpson in the GIF. GIF, whatever you want to do. He walks in, put the hat. No, I'm going to just leave. I'm going right back out. That's it. I'm not even going to buy. I don't doubt it's comfy, Sotvik. I'm not, but I'm saying I don't want to sit and wait for my car to charge. Wow, Jim, they're death traps. Wow, I didn't even. Well, I mean, if it does catch on fire, I mean, I've seen those things. One of them exploded. You know, the thing you don't talk about with electric cars. This is going to be a problem too, guys. Think about this. I didn't know this. Electric cars weigh a fuck ton of weight. Like they are super duper heavy. The battery, everything about them is like what? How many times more a car? 2, 3, 4, whatever it is, it's a lot more than a regular car. So what happens if you get a parking garage full of electric cars? They're built to only handle so much weight. So if all of a sudden you have a bunch of EVs in there, the concrete could suddenly give. There was a place, I think it was Chicago or New York, the parking garage collapsed. And it's no one, you know what? Did you notice no one talked about the electric cars? Because they don't want to talk about that. Elon doesn't want that to become a story. Remember, at the end of the day, these people that you call attention to don't want it to get critical mass. Even the thought that an EV could be, totally a scam, they don't want that to come out. Now, you can disagree with me, Bruce. I appreciate it, Sotvik. That's fine. But I'm just telling you that it's valid to have this opinion, just like it is with me about poor things. It's not just valid, it's correct. And people don't want to address it because once you address it, you open up all kinds of shit, right? You just want to let it go. Okay. I had a story I could tell you. I'm not going to do it. A story about something that I told someone, don't even address it, because if you do, it's going to become an absolute nightmare. They did, and it became a nightmare. And I said, if you just were to listen to me, this whole thing would be not there. And that's what it goes back many, many years. The point is that you don't bring attention to something you don't want people to all of a sudden start discussing. You just disregard it. Like, do you think Emma Stone's going to come in and retweet my thing about her? Let me read it to you one more time. Here's my tweet about her tonight that everyone's going to end up going, what? And then it's true. It's because it's true. What I just said earlier is 100% true. Here it is. You guys ready? I just want Emma Stone. Here we go. Give me a second. Guys, I'm over an hour. You guys are, come on. Stop making me talk. I just want Emma Stone to say what a challenge it was to play a toddler-brained woman getting banged by dudes at a whorehouse on the record. I want her to say that on the record. So do you think Emma Stone or any of her people are going to come in here and quote tweet that. You know why they're not going to? Because that is true. What I just said about Poor Things is accurate. She has a toddler brain and she's having sex with dudes. It's creepy as hell. So of course they don't want to talk about that. Well, listen, you guys know what I think about Grace Randolph as a film evaluator, but I will say this. It's the weird thing about Poor Things, and I go back to my reaction stream, and I knew I didn't like the feel of the film. There's something about the film that made me feel gross, and it wasn't about sexual liberation. Guys, I've only visited Pornhub a few times in my life. X Hamster, I've got, there's a few extra. Who hasn't? I'm not a prude, but there was something I didn't like about what that film felt like. There was some, and I couldn't quite, it's right there, duh. But for whatever reason, I just went, I hate this movie. I hate how it feels. It makes, and then I started to put it together, and other people were joining in saying, what the fuck? That's the thing. Once you put it all together, and maybe you did when you first watched it, once people start putting it together, that essentially it is a toddler having sex, people are going to go, holy shit. So, what did I tell you guys about Emma Stone that night? I said she should fire her managers and her agents for that movie. If this turns, guys, and I'm right, there's no way to argue what I'm talking about with Poor Things. It's 100% accurate. What I portray this film as is what it is. If that turns, if all of a sudden, and you guys know this, all it takes is some giant right-wing person, shouldn't even be a right-wing person. It takes one giant right-wing person to all of a sudden push it like libs of TikTok, and guess what's going to happen? Oh, boy. It's going to be bad for Emma Stone. I told you guys that. What'd I tell you? I warned you. I warned her. And I'm telling you, I'm right a lot. Whether you might not agree with me, but what I just said is accurate. You might not like it. It is sick. I mean, if you really think about it, it's sick. Think about it. One more time. She has her baby's brain implanted in her head by William Dafoe, Frankenstein. Only her baby's brain, as she all of a sudden has to go re-experience life as a toddler, brained, full-bodied woman. So, instead of making a movie that's like a Big, granted, he does have sex with what's-her-name as he progresses in the movie, but he also was 14? Was he 13? Little creepy. No one's going to argue that. But this is a toddler. She plays a toddler-brained person. Instead of making a movie about her experiencing life as a toddler and going back and think about a film that could be awesome about that. Like, now she's going to go back and relive life and be this new, wonder-filled, child-minded person in the world. No, instead, we're going to have her go and become a prostitute and get banged by guys, including a guy who brings his two sons and says, let's watch. Come on, I'm right. I'm always right. These things are there. So don't get angry with me for pointing this shit out. It is disturbing. That film is morally grotesque. And that's the other, I don't just hate it because it's pretentious. I don't just hate it because it's overlong. I hate it because it's disgusting as a film in every way, shape, and form. And Emma Stone should be ashamed to be in that movie. I don't care how many awards she wins. I don't care if she wins Oscar. I don't care if they say it's the best performance ever. At the end of the day, you and I both know that film is abhorrent, and it makes me sick to even think about that film. And I hope to God that you all come around. Because we need to demand more. We can't, listen, this world, can I just finish? We're going to wrap. I can't. I want to do MMM Freak. I'm just freaking tired now. We have a world now where we have some shit going on that ain't right. And the more of us that sit around and don't say something about it, the worse it's going to get. So you have to be fearless in standing up and saying what you believe and have no fear of repercussions because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. We're fighting at the end of the day for something better. I'm fighting for a better film. I'm fighting to never have to sit through another shit film that is disturbing, disgusting, like Poor Things ever again. And if Hollywood wants to give me that, then I'll flip and become literally the anti-woke guy. Because I'm not going to stand for that shit. And we're not going to celebrate Poor Things. It's not a woke, anti-woke thing. It's a humanity thing. And that movie can go F itself. And you need to get on the right side of history. I'm always on the right side of history. I'm on the right side again here. Do it now. Don't wait. Do it now. Stop waiting until a year from now when everyone jumps on. Do it now. Be fearless now. Stream's over. I'm out. I'm tired. I'll see you guys back here whenever we do it again. It was fun tonight. That was a really fun stream. I really appreciate everyone who watches and likes or dislikes whatever's there. Comment away. I'm totally open to it. Like if you appreciate it. And we'll be back soon here on MMT with whatever the next film I have to suffer through here in January is. Oh my God, it's been bad lately, and I hope it turns around, but I don't think it will until we get to Dune 2 in March. We're in trouble over the next few months. Until I see you next time, MMT, peace out. Live from LA. I'll see you next time.